what happened is that a lot of the people have come, they heard of Adam, they knew he had done something before, they got inspired by his Freedom Campfire Tour. They've watched Adam versus the Man. They've seen him on RT. They, came across a lot of his different various activism and so on, and racking 12 gauges in Washington, D.C., that kind of stuff. But they had no freaking idea where he came from. They don't understand it, from his beginnings as a Marine in Fallujah and how he was impacted by that, rubber meets the road experience, and inspired by Dr. Ron Paul's effort and the Lovevolution and this awakening, this reawakening of our heritage. And a lot of us that have been around a long time, kind of gray, we have been waiting for you. You don't know where Adam came from. You don't know what gave him national prominence. You don't know why he was being followed and surveilled by the FBI. You don't know why he was being targeted for a lot of... You don't know. You don't know. Whenever you stand up, a lot of times you get noticed just because everyone else is on their knees. It's really no more complicated than that. Are you going to stand up? Just stand up. For what? For freedom. Adam has done that. And I'm glad some of you guys that haven't seen that before got to see how inspired so many of us have been by what he's had to say and what he's done. And his campfire tour around his book, Freedom, that he immediately, from the very beginning, he published it in every conceivable format that you can listen to it, you can read it, you can download it on various different kinds of mobile devices, your phone, in every format. Take it, use it, plagiarize it, say it was yours. He doesn't care. Freedom belongs to all of us. And I tell you, the first thing I thought when I listened to this book, that's 3 hours, how long it takes to get from Phoenix to Atlanta. I was on the plane, boom, I'm done. They're going, you got to put that down. No, it's not done downloading yet, man. I can do it. I can do it. No, it's going, oh yeah, I'm just, boom, it's done. Okay, I listen to it, and I go, yes. This is a very powerful tool, and there are enough people that have supported this effort to make it where you can get a book for free right over there. You can go online, download it, you can listen to it, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't invest in it. I'm here, we'll recover the cost of whatever doing this, but give some money to Adam, because that's what funds his tour, for him to keep ordering more books, to keep doing this, to go into events like this. I'm glad you guys, some of you guys got to, witness the beginning of a lot of this. Because it is so, there you go, Ed's got some money for him. Peace. Because it's not about voting. It's not about elections. It's about you. It's about how you raise your children. It's about what you use as money, what you spend your money on, what you eat, what you don't, what you know, where you go for your information, who you trust. It's a culture thing. Adam, not only as a result of the culture, he helps change it. Adam Kokesh.
I guess stay behind the speakers here, right? Probably. Okay. Well, now that Ernie's got me in another cage, I have to stand behind these speakers or I'm going to kill all of your eardrums. Such an amazing crowd here tonight, and I love it. Every time I come back to Phoenix, you can feel the love and Lovevolution here, and you can feel a certain passion. You can feel that people come here to live this way for a certain reason. So thank you very much for making this a very special evening already for me. It's amazing to get this kind of reception for freedom and on this tour. Please give yourselves a round of applause and everybody for the activism that happens here in Phoenix, and for Ernie for making this all possible. And Donna, of course, the real brains behind the operation here. So, on April 23rd of 2004, I found myself in a dark room across the Euphrates River from Fallujah. And I was there in my full battle rattle as a Marine on a civil affairs team helping out the grunts, guarding some detainees. And had my flak jacket, my Kevlar, my rifle slung across my chest, 9mm on my hip, all the gear that I could attach to it. Yeah, I was one of those Marines. And my orders that night were to keep some detained Iraqis awake. And that might not sound like that difficult of a proposition, but when you understand that when I walked into the room, they were already zip-tied with their hands behind their backs, they had sandbags over their heads, and were sitting in piles of their own excrement, and you understand that what I was asked to do was part of preparation for interrogation. Flash forward to July 9, 2013, and I find myself alone in a room this time. And it's a very bright room, and the lights are on 24 hours a day, and it's too cold to sleep, and I don't have a regular inmate supply of clothing, but just a t-shirt and shorts. And it was too cold to sleep, and I didn't have a mattress. There were ants in the cell, and I was on what for me was at least a starvation diet of 3 bologna sandwiches a day. Although I was very fortunate enough to have a toilet completely to myself. And the reason I was there was because I refused to cooperate. And not just in the bigger picture, for those of you who know why I was there, loading a shotgun 2 blocks from the White House, and all the fun that came out as a result of that, including a raid. It was the second time this government has sent more men after me than they sent after bin Laden, which I really take as a great honor. Flashbang grenade, laser sights on my chest, 2 helicopters, two, yeah, I was that bad. Or that good at evasion, I don't know what they were thinking.
You're a Marine.
Park police, armored vehicle, breach team, they just needed an excuse for playing with their toys. Speaking of which, for those of you that don't know, I have developed a kind of an interesting rivalry with the United States Park Police. And the video that I made before the raid was at a Smokedown Prohibition event in Philadelphia, where they had a line of riot cops, just in a line. You could walk all the way around them, in front of them, or behind them. It was not a very effective crowd control technique. And they were all carrying batons, and so I went up to each one very politely, and I said, "Sir, nice to meet you." Of course, they didn't shake my hand. "Sorry, nice baton, sorry about your penis." For some reason, it was the guys in the same uniforms that I found in my living room a few weeks later. I don't know, you guys can draw the connection there if you like. But I now am one of the few people who gets to say, not only have I tortured on behalf of this government, but been tortured. And the reason was because I refused to cooperate with my own kidnapping. I refused to take a DNA test and allow them to inject me with a PPV shot and to cooperate with fingerprinting and photographs. And so, for those of you who appreciated the smiling mugshot, really, everybody should have one of those. If you don't, I can give you some advice for how to get started. But until the government knows that you can smile while in custody, you're not really free. And for those of you that don't know, when that picture was taken, I was actually handcuffed to a wheelchair. That was what they had to do to get me to cooperate, to go along with all of this. I told them I wouldn't resist, but I wouldn't assist in any way with this process. And it's been a long journey from one torture room to another. And I've learned a lot of lessons the hard way, so that you didn't have to. First of all, joining the military in the first place, I hope, is a lesson, a good mistake that everybody here can learn from. But in my activism as well. And for those of you who know what I do and what I've done, you can imagine that the most satisfying feedback I ever get is from people who say, "You woke me up. You changed the way I think about the world. You changed the way I think about freedom. You changed the way I think about myself. You have made my life better." And that feedback is kind of rare, but when it happens, and I know there are a lot of people here who have said things like that to me, and it's an incredible honor to feel that kind of support, to feel that kind of appreciation. And what I realized was that there was a big part missing to what I was doing. We talk about waking people up. We talk about freeing minds. We talk about the free market. We talk about efficiency. And in some ways, we don't put those together. When I was in jail, there was something about that time. I did 2 months in solitary. There was something about that challenge that felt a lot like being in Fallujah. And when I went through boot camp, they successfully imbued me with what they call the whistle past the graveyard sense of humor. You know, that if you're a Marine, if it ain't raining, you ain't training. You know, if you can't laugh at death, you're not ready for this job. If you can't go into combat with a smile on your face, laughing at the devil, you're not ready to be a United States Marine. And when I was in Fallujah, I was the guy who would wake up and tell stories and sing songs and tell jokes and try to get everybody in a good mood going into our day's work there, oppressing people on the other side of the planet. And when I came back and I found myself in jail, I was like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy this time. Why the hell not? I considered it my government-induced, taxpayer-funded spiritual retreat. I put it to darn good use. And when you have a big megaphone on the outside, I mean, they kind of have to do this anyway. I always have fun at events like this, asking this question. How many people here have been to jail? Okay, overnights included. Come on, I know there's probably going to be out twice. Yeah, all right, there we go. A few more hands. All right. So at least some people here have a sense of what it means to be a ward of the state that way. And they kind of... Never convicted. In jail and never convicted. That counts.
Never charged.
Never charged, just harassed. So I took that same mentality into my jail experience. And when every guard wears a name tag, well, they're really careful about following the rules around you. And every time someone would come to give me my mail or a meal or tell me to take all my clothes off, lift up my balls, turn around and spread my cheeks so that I could get shackled and walk 20 feet down the hallway to take a shower, I would, even in those situations, I would stop and I would say, excuse me, sir, ma'am, can I talk to you for a second? You're a free, beautiful, independent human being and you should never let anyone tell you otherwise. And half of them loved it. Those who could accept it loved it. And those who couldn't were like, how the heck is this guy on the inside more free than I am on the outside? And that was what I learned in jail. And it's such a fundamental truth of human nature, of human existence even, a timeless thing that, you know, we are all striving to live by, to live better. And that is that you, as a free, beautiful, independent human being, as the glorious consciousness that you represent, have the capability of determining your demeanor, your outlook, your attitude at any time. Why would you ever choose to be anything less than perfectly happy? Now, as libertarians, as political activists, as change agents, as people just fighting the system, we're very comfortable talking about how the government controls us emotionally in a negative sense. They want us to be afraid, right? They want us to be beaten down. They want us to be dependent. They want us to think of government as this great necessary parental figure. But we don't talk about the flip side of that. And the flip side of that is emotional freedom. Because you know what? Nobody wakes up to the nature of government and is elevated by that. No one goes, gee, the world's more screwed up than I thought it was. Yay! Everybody here has been through the experience of being brought down by awareness. Because that's the initial reaction, right? You want to be angry, and for the first time, you're angry at the right people. Instead of your fellow citizens, you're angry at the people who are controlling all of you. You might be depressed, have a sadness. I mean, I still mourn when I see the costs of statism, when I see all the ways that it's holding us back, all the human potential squandered Because we still have this vestigial institutionalization of all of humanity's worst desires to control and dominate and manipulate each other by force. And you might be afraid. And how many of you experienced fear? But no, you knew for the first time you were afraid of the right things. And then you went out on the street corner with a sign and a bullhorn and all the passion in your heart, and you screamed at the top of your lungs, "Now join me in my anger and my fear and my depression!" And what was the response that you got? Fuck you! I'm going back to watching Dancing with the Stars. I don't want any of that freedom shit. I don't want to be brought down to your level. I don't want to do that. And every one of us goes through that to some degree. You can't help it. You can't help it. It is a fundamental element of being an activist, of being aware, of being, and everybody's an activist. Everybody who cares about making the world a better place is an activist. It's not just the people who make videos or give speeches or get arrested or any of that. Everybody. And you know what? That's not even the important thing. But if you're afraid, if you're sad, if you're angry because of them, it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter how many times you get arrested or not. It doesn't matter how much they leave you alone. If you are angry, if you are afraid, if you are sad, they win, you lose. It's as simple as that. If you allow yourself to be enslaved emotionally, you are more of a sucker than the happy little wage slave who is living a good life. But the truth will set you free. We all know that. We all are here because we choose to be, because we embrace it, because we know that it's some deeper fundamental, the truths that we care about, the principles that motivate us, improve our lives. And when you can embrace that, when you can internalize that, when you can really soak in the message through and through and realize this isn't a political movement, this is an anti-political movement. We're not here to argue about who you point the guns of government at to organize society. We're saying, nuh-uh, not anymore. And when you realize that, freedom as defined in an external sense, the right or the ability to exercise your will within your rights without forceful interference, that's only half of it. Because as much as we are apt to enslave each other through emotional manipulation and lies and passive-aggressive behavior and all the other things that we do, and through government even, it's not nearly as significant as how much we hold ourselves back by denying ourselves the respect that we should for our own will, for our own actualization as human beings. And when you have that, when you really get that, and you literally have a boot heel on your neck, and I've been there, you can look up at that guy and smile. And you know what happens when you do? You're not angry anymore. You're not sad. You're not afraid. That guy can't hurt you. Maybe physically. But you know that that doesn't matter. The person that needed the most help was not Adam being tortured in jail. It was Adam doing the torturing in Fallujah. And when you can look up at that guy with the boot heel on your neck and you can smile, you can't help but pity that guy. You think the cop who beats up protesters is a happy, well-adjusted human being? You think he goes back to a loving home where he's taken care of and nurtured? You think the bankers who are ripping everybody else off, you think they don't know what they're doing? You think it doesn't eat them up inside? You think the politicians who have been selling everybody else out, you think they don't know what's up? Oh, they know.
Why do you think all those bankers started committing suicide?
Exactly. Yeah, there's some psychopaths, but there are those that commit suicide because they know that what they are doing is fundamentally wrong. They are the ones that need this message more than anybody else. They are the ones that need this. They may not be the easiest to reach, but they're the ones who will benefit the most. And it's going to take a long time before the message really reaches through to the entire apparatus of government, to all the poor souls still trapped in the matrix of the machine that they are a part of, that they give their bodies to, the cops and the troops and all the federal agents and all the politicians and maybe even all of the enthusiastic voters out there. It's just the enthusiastic ones we have to worry about. The ones that vote and hold their nose and hate it, they're ready for this. And what I realized about myself in this epiphanies, this series of epiphanies that I had during my government-induced, taxpayer-funded spiritual retreat, was that I hadn't been applying my own principles to my activism. And for those of you who are familiar with my earlier work, performance art, if you will, I brought a lot of anger into that. I brought a lot of ego. I made myself sick worrying about what I was doing, about getting arrested, about was I going to be able to, raise the money to keep doing what I was doing, to keep the operation going, to do what I wanted to do. And I have been able to because there have been so many people who have supported this. But what I realized that as a movement, we have been so misguided. We have been sucked into this game of politics. We're playing the zero-sum game. We're arguing with people. You think that people that first figured out hygiene, hey, if you brush your teeth, you're going to be healthier in the long run, you think they would argue with people about this? Hey, we've got this thing called irrigation now. You guys don't have to, stink all the time. You think it was a really hard sell? People say, no, this is necessary. It's necessary that we live this way. The message of freedom is not a matter of opinion. It's something that we've discovered that we have to share with the rest of humanity. And a lot of people who get this message, who are driven by ego, who are driven by anger, they create a lot of false constructs to justify that in their understanding of the world, their understanding of government, and the dynamics of human history and where we're going. And they'll tell you, you gotta grab your pitchforks now, you gotta buy my water filters, and you gotta storm the Capitol, or else it's 1,000 years of darkness, because we're coming to a crossroads. You ever feel like those people are playing the exact same game that the government propagandists are? It's a form of emotional slavery to say you have an obligation to do this. But you don't. You have a gift. You have an opportunity. You can take it as a responsibility, but I hope you take it as a responsibility to yourself to serve your own vision of what humanity can be moving forward. And what I realized about my own activism is that the most satisfying part, as I said, was when people said, you converted me. You converted me to a different way of thinking. We also kind of shy away from this because when you're sucked into a political movement, it's about opinions. There's not a lot of facts. There's not a lot of logic and reason being applied. Who can shout the loudest? Who has the best hair? Right? What I realized was that I wasn't applying the same principles of efficiency to my activism as I was expecting of the market of a free society. So let's step back for a second for where we are as a movement. In terms of people who understand freedom in any kind of principle terms, in any kind of philosophical terms, you can shout out an answer if you like. How many Americans, and percentage-wise, 1% would be 3.2 million. How many do you think we have?
Okay, a few percent.
A few percent? Ernie doesn't care?
I'd say that independents are about a third of the country.
No. People who can specifically articulate freedom as a principled belief. People who get it. People who are converted to a different way of thinking. Because when you go out and you knock on a door for a candidate, when you go and do some civil disobedience for some activism, when you go change people's minds on one issue, guess what? You got to go back the next time. You change one heart, one mind, you win someone over to a different way of thinking, you share this message with them in a way that they truly get, you never have to go back. We have been like Sisyphus rolling the rock up the hill. We have been distracted by playing their game because we've been afraid to put it in these terms. Bullshit, not anymore. Right. So I have a challenge to everybody here tonight because I wrote this book. I started writing it while I was in jail. And I was able to do a survey of the literature, not just because we're such a young movement, but because people sent me a lot of books when I was in jail. I had a lot of time on my hands. But you can do a survey of the literature, you can go back and you can see that there has been, as Ernie so well pointed out, and Ernie, thank you very much because, it means so much to me to have someone of your experience in the movement say that, as you said the first time you heard it, that you were waiting for someone to write this book. And it wasn't anything special that I did, except that I had the vision. I figured out the one little thing, the one key, the one formula to capture what's captured here in 100 pages. There are no original ideas of mine in here. I don't take any credit for it. My name's not on the cover. It's our book, and I don't just mean everybody's, as Ernie said, but for the people who contributed to this, we spent a lot of time editing this, honing it down, getting it down so it was true to the formula that we came up with. As Ernie knows, it's not Amerocentric, because the message of freedom is not an American message. It's a human message. It has no opinions, no conjectures, no wishful thinking, nothing that can be debated. You can hand this to someone with absolute confidence that you can stand behind every single sentence. And I'm so glad that, of all people, Ernie, you endorsed that analysis?
Absolutely.
All right.
No, it has, a lot of, I got to say this one thing. What everybody thought is that this book was going to be Adam's biography or something, or what Adam did, or how it doesn't even have a thing to do with Adam other than at the end it says he read it. He did the audio book.
Yep.
That was it.
Thank you,
awesome.
Ernie. So, I have a challenge to everyone here tonight. Not just to embrace this, because I know most people are already on this level. Most people already know this here. I don't think you would be here if you weren't at least in the process of incorporating these values and this truth into your life. My challenge to you is to first, this challenge has several parts. And the first is to read this book. And by the way, you can listen to it and still tell people that you read it. That's okay. It's 2015. Nobody actually reads books anymore. Just kidding. But holy crap, is it hard to get people to read a book these days? You gotta twist people's arms. So it's only 3 hours long. It's an audiobook. It's only 100 pages. 60 sections, less than 2 pages on average. There's a section called Soldiering in the chapter about war. No one who has read that has turned around and joined the military. You can use it as a tool even like that. But the reason I wrote this book is because I knew that for me, this is the most effective way to win converts. To take people from zero to I get it. To inspire people to not just embrace this message, but become champions of it. To understand the significance in the great historical context of human progress and human achievement and where we are going. And the fact that it is inevitable that we will achieve this. It is inherent in the nature of life itself to seek harmony. You don't have to do anything. You get to. Second part of this challenge is to decide for yourselves, is this or is this not the most effective way for you to wake people up? And I always like putting people on the spot too with gatherings like this to say how many people, and I bet we're going to get a pretty good show of hands here. How many people can honestly say they have thoroughly shared with everyone in their immediate family what they care about and why they're here tonight? That's awesome. That's huge. That's really beautiful. This is the most I've ever seen an event. So that was about close to 2/3. It's usually about a little less than a third. even, people coming to hear me speak. And I think it's really important that we develop the tools, whether it's this or something else, to wake up the people around us that we love, that we care about. Because if we can't start with them, and you go out on that corner with a bullhorn and the sign, and they think you're crazy, and they don't know why you're there, then you might be a little bit crazy. At least a little misguided. At least as misguided as I was. So the next part of the challenge is, if this is not the most effective way, then you better find what is. And if it's something with this and you can put your name on the cover and sell more copies, do it. If you can change 2 sentences and say, it's my book now, publish it, do it. Ernie gets it. Fully open source. Take it, do what you will with it.
Because he knew I was going to rip it off anyway.
So the last part of the challenge is, if you're here for the right reasons, if you get what I've been telling you tonight, if you feel the passion that I feel for what we're doing, for how this message is moving humanity forward, then I want you to apply those principles to your life and to your activism. And to set a simple monthly goal for yourself. To say, I'm going to share the message with this many people. I'm going to wake this many people up. I'm going to win this many converts. I'm going to at least give away this many copies of the book. By the way, one of the things we're trying to do right now, and I got to say, we had a successful Indiegogo campaign last year that has made this tour possible. And I'm so grateful. I know a lot of people here contributed to that. And I want to point out that there are a lot of people who are very efficient at making money. I'm not one of them. I'm really good at spending other people's money, actually. Yeah, funny how that works. And if what you decide that your greatest contribution is to empower others, then make that your goal. Because I can tell you that we can get these out in people's hands for less than $1 each. We've been telling people on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, tag people in our posts, and we'll send you free copies of the book. And I want to be able to keep doing that. We have about 6,000 copies that we've taken with us on the tour here. I know we're going to unload some tonight. I want everybody to take as many as they can meaningfully give away. But more importantly, I want you to see the bigger picture of this and realize that you're a part of a bigger process of humanity moving forward. I have a couple other big projects in the works, and if you're on my email list, you might have heard a story that we shared with you from a friend of freedom who works in a jail, who's a counselor. And it's one place you have a captive audience of people who have a lot of time to read, right? One of the projects that we're going to be working on, and I'd love to be able to do this, maybe people here, if you have some ideas or some thoughts about how we can get this rolling, I'm thinking for the next Indiegogo campaign, we're going to do a mail to jail and get as many copies of this in the hands of as many inmates as possible. Take the system apart from the inside, right? How many people in jail? How many people have been to jail? Who have been to jail? No, most people are there for victimless crimes, and they're dealing with some of all the emotional turmoil that you have dealt with here as activists. Insignificant to even the guys who are in who know that the system is bullshit, that they are the victims. To all the emotional turmoil that they've experienced of guilt and remorse and all the things that have been imposed on them by the outside. As Ernie knows, and Ernie has done some great work himself during the Arab Spring, getting a lot of important stuff, including the Philosophy of Liberty video translated into Arabic. We wrote this book to be globally applicable. That's the next step. We want to raise the money to be able to get it translated into every single language in the world that we can get this book out in people's hands where they need it just as much as anyone here in the United States. So if people want to help out with that, these are the kind of bigger projects that we're working on, that we're working forward to, or that we're looking forward, that we're going to be raising money for. But right now, it's really just about this. So if you're not going to make a monthly commitment, I want to ask people tonight, right here, right now, to make a monthly commitment, whether it's a donation that you know is going to be used to get these books out. And by the way, the way that we have figured this out, less than $1 each. Less than $1 each. We can get these printed. We can get them in people's hands. That's the power of this. So who's going to stand up now? Who's going to say that this is a commitment that they're ready to make, that they're going to wake up so many people, they're going to talk to their family members? I've got my girlfriend here, Macy. Macy, if you'd raise your hand, please. Traveling with me. Holy crap, bravest woman I know. She's already planning for what happens when I get shot. I'm the only one who's allowed to laugh, right? But she's here. If anybody wants to make a donation by credit card tonight, we can swipe credit cards. We especially appreciate the monthly donations for people that can help us get on the road, who can help us build a regular budget for this operation, who can help us keep getting these out to everybody in America who needs to hear this message. So let me hear it. Who's ready to make a commitment?
Take Bitcoin!
You want to come up and get on the microphone? Let's do this. Why don't you come up right here? Jason, right?
Yeah. How's it going? Hello, everybody.
You stand right there.
All right. So, what should I do, I guess?
Well, what do you think you're capable of doing in terms of how many people can you... And by the way, when we talk about sharing this message and sharing this book, it's not about, I'm just going to leave them everywhere. I'm going to scatter them. I'm just going to hand them willy-nilly. It's about follow-through and making a meaningful connection when you give it to someone.
Hello, everybody. So, like Adam, I'm a retired veteran. And part of being a veteran is coming to understand I couldn't live two lives. I couldn't live for the ideal of freedom, which is what I loved.
There you go.
I couldn't live for the ideal of freedom, which is what I truly loved about being a soldier, and then turn around and teach my soldiers to teach fear. And when I did that, it broke my entire mind. It broke my soul. Because I couldn't honestly lead people into a lie. And so when I finally woke up, I went into a mental hospital. And in a mental hospital, they told me, you're the one who's responsible for your mental illness. They didn't offer any help. They told me, you're the reason that you have the problem. It's not that society is the problem. It's not that the world is the problem. It's you. It's in your genes. It's in your DNA. You're the victim. Stay the victim. So, after that experience, and the minute that I mentioned that I had a problem with the government, the first thing they did, they doubled my dose of my medication. They doubled it. It made me a zombie. So then I stepped out. And in that time, when God tells you that you're going to do something in life, when you tell the world that God is calling you to do something, or Spirit, nothing will stand in your way. And so when I stood up and I told the military that I was being called for something greater, because what they did wasn't right anymore, I left. And God gave me the freedom. He gave me the retirement. He supported me. And now is my time to step up and do something for the world and for the community. And so, in my calling, what I've been given as an opportunity is the ability, with everybody's help, I'm going to go and build a foundation for homeless veterans and the homeless. And the foundation is going to be designed off of building aquaponics systems to feed the homeless as well as the community. And the other part of that is that we will be building micro homes for each one of these homeless people. We're going to be building that micro home nation so that people no longer have to be paying to live a miserable life. Instead, they're going to live a life where we teach them how to be free, where we teach them how to feed others, how to give to others, how to use kindness, which is the most powerful tool that exists within our body, in our heart, in our soul, and in our mind. And when we teach that kindness, when we teach that love to others, it spreads like a fire across the globe. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to ignite the fire of coming to the call of being alive and being free. and being who it is that we were born to be. This world is ours. It is not theirs. It's ours. They work for us. We don't work for them. We are free. We were born that way, and we will die that way, as long as we choose that. And so I'm asking, and I'm putting this out to the world, whoever would believe in this idea and help me, and I will help you in whatever way that I can. Whoever will help. It takes $1 from every person in the world, and we will have enough money to start building these everywhere they go. Our future, they've already planned our future, right? The economy's crashing. Prices are rising on food, gas, all these things. We're going to have homeless crisis that's going to grow in epic proportions. They don't have jobs to give to the people, right? So we have to come up with the solution. They already have a solution for us. They've got internment camps and they've got other things that they want to put us in. No, we need to be the ones to create the solution. We need to be the ones who build and use just the smallest amount of money to start building homes for everybody, to start building food. The number one weapon they have against us is food. When we can't feed our families, they own us. But when we liberate ourselves through feeding others, through taking care of others, then we will be free.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Thank you. It sure is a pleasure to be here with all you fine activists. I come from Tucson, and I drove all the way up here because I wanted to meet every single one of you. I wanted to have a discussion with you, talk to you about our mutual views on freedom and liberty, and I wanted to help plant a seed in your mind how you can participate in activism on a whole nother level than you've ever participated in before. You have to ignite that fire in people to desire to make a change, and it comes from making a difference in our lifestyle where we allocate time towards building a more free society. So I advocate it starts with A, the mental intention, which this book is going to help do. B, physiology, and being the most productive you can in your day. So you have access to YouTubes. There's lots of like these personal trainer types people. Listen to some of the people that are out there. I right now have just subscribed to a guy named Brandon Burchard, a world-class entrepreneur, and teaching people how to be more productive in their lives, no matter what your business. Apply that to your activism. And, you know, I don't want to hog the mic, but I do have a very important message, which is that we can change every single problem that we have in our governance today. But when we have the opportunity to refer the corrupt laws that they've passed to the voters, and the voters see that, oh wait, they've added fluoride in Phoenix limits is higher than anywhere else in the nation practically. Well, if that law is referred to voters and there's an argument in that ballot guide that says, would you like to vote against that? There's going to be a lot of people, if it's not 51% right away, a lot of people that start to use what we tend to fear, which is democracy, because the way it's been institutionalized by the government, as a tool where it's institutionalized by us, where we propel a majority consensus based on logic and facts that works to serve our constitutional desires. What we want is not to have gun rights taken away from us. So what have some states done? Well, the legislature's taken care of it in some states and actually passed anti-federal gun grab bills, but we don't have to wait for these politicians. We can change those laws ourselves. Furthermore, we can recall all the corrupt politicians, even federal candidates, as provided in our Constitution. So when they're doing all this nonsense.
What's the monthly commitment?
My monthly commitment? Okay, well, I am unemployed right now, but I've given you $100. I bought the book.
Awesome.
And I'm actually living off all the savings, so that was a good step forward. But I'm going to commit to telling as many people about it. Is the audiobook online that I can just email to people? Yep. That's going everywhere now. I was actually considering, I think a lot of us could probably do it as a practice to start developing our speaking voice, reading in on YouTube videos and just publishing your own YouTube videos, adding your commentary to it. But yeah, I'm committing to that, and when I am working again and income is stable, I'd be happy to contribute a monthly amount, because that's what it takes. Everyone does a small amount. You support a guy like Adam that could spread this message so effectively where no one else can, and if anyone can do it, this guy can. So there's people like him all around, but yeah, he's got, I haven't read the book yet, but I know that it's the one. I already know it. But I haven't heard of any book like that before. but I'm ready for it. And yeah, your message is going to be out there thanks to my participation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, I want to ask for a specific commitment for everybody here to, whoa, not let me do that again. Can everybody here commit to taking 10 books home with them tonight? Excellent. Can everybody commit to, in the next month, putting those 10 books into 10 different hands? Meaning people, yes. That's not 5 people with 2 hands each. That's 10 people who need to hear this message. And if you can't, can you make a donation tonight to make sure that those of us who can't afford to do it without your help can stay on the road, can keep mailing out books, and can keep getting books in the hands of the activists who need your help to get the book out every single day?
I pledge the first $500.
All right.
$500.
$500, first donation. Thank you very much, sir. Outstanding.
Well, since he gave
Sorry
me
about the
$100 for Freedom Speaks, I guess I just give it to you.
Well, we're going to leave a box of 100 books here for Ernie for sure. He's going to get rid of those in a month. Who else? Who else has a commitment that they want to share with everybody here about what they can do on a monthly basis to commit to spreading this message and waking people up one at a time?
This movement needs money.
What's that?
I'm unemployed. I can give 20.
Unemployed, she's going to talk to 20 people a month. That's incredible. Thank you very much. That's the kind of work it takes. I want to go back for a second to what I was saying about where we are right now. People who can articulate this message from a principled perspective. If we were 1% of the population, that would be 3.2 million. I think that would be extremely optimistic.
Really?
I'd say we're at about 0.5%, maybe less. You can argue it one way or another. But it's pretty darn clear that fighting for issues or elections is not where we're at right now. It's about winning converts. And I know that everybody here has the capacity to do that. Yes, sir?
Adam, I haven't read your book yet. I haven't had a chance to read your book, of course, and it's the first time I heard you in person.
Do you want to share this with everybody?
In 3 minutes or less.
Please introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, my name's Russ Wittenberg, and I
Yeah,
haven't
behind the speakers.
Join me in the cage here.
I haven't had a chance to read the book yet, and I fully intend to. I've been in politics a long time, over 50 years. I've run several statewide campaigns for presidential candidates. I understand how the game is played, and I've been inside the belly of the beast. What I want to know is, does the book, a couple things I want to know. Does the book have a strategy for stopping the evil and reversing it?
Absolutely, and that brings me to the first of my last 2 points this evening, if you allow me to do this. We have a section in the book called localization. And localization is not just a strategy. Because when you look at government today, it's obviously not sustainable in its current form. And if your answer to the masses is, get your guns and your gold and your ammo and go sit back and hope that the government spares you when its violent death throes as it desperately clings to power, that's not an answer. And you know what? If you're one of those people, they're probably coming after you first, and you don't stand a chance when they do anyway. Sorry, Ernie. Governments are going to be taken apart from the top down, whether we like it or not. This is the course of how we move forward from an unsustainable system. The question is, how deliberately can we do it? How peacefully, how orderly? And I know some people here have asked me about this already because they've heard the rumors we've been starting. I do intend to run for president in 2020 on the platform of a peaceful, orderly dissolution of the entire United States federal government in 4 years. Now, I hope you guys are clapping, not for me, but for the platform. And as I've said from the beginning on this, I'd really rather someone else step in, because those guys get shot a lot. But when we get to the point when you have a mandate for that, we'll be able to do it in a deliberate, peaceful manner. And in January or February, right after Clinton or Bush is sworn in of 2017, right when everybody's going, dang, we fell for it again. How did that happen? It happens every time. Every 4 years we get screwed. And now we got another Clinton or another Bush. Holy crap, what are we going to do? We're going to be announcing the formation of the Localization Party.
There you go.
I originally wanted to call it the Abolition Party, but that's kind of a libertarian macho flash. I know Ernie knows that term. Some of the older advocates of the message know what I'm talking about. But when they say localization, and this is in the book, you take it down to the states, to the counties, to the cities, until you're able to transition to a non-violent model, to a non-coercive centralized system, or decentralized system, rather. And I really hope that it's not me. We can get someone else who's more capable of actually dismantling this. But when they ask, how local do you want government to be? Because if you say, hey, we're going to abolish government, that scares people. We don't want to abolish government. I'm not an anarchist. I believe in 100% self-government. And when they say, how local should it be? All the way down to the divine single individual.
Yeah. But
And due to my vast experience with political activity, if you want people to read this book, you have a much better chance if you try to get money or some kind of donation out of it, because if you give it away, it's something which they're going to say, well, it's just not worth reading. But if you can get some skin in the game from the person you're trying to give the book to, your chances of them reading the book goes up exponentially.
So can I count on you for $20 a month?
I got to read the book.
Good answer. And please do, before you do contribute to this. So, the Localization Party is one way that we are able to build that consistency, or the consensus, to take that, what you would all probably recognize as a good first step in the right direction of eliminating the United States federal government. And by creating this party, I'm actually creating, most importantly, the way for me to step back, for there to be an actual nominating contest, for there to be a chance for someone more qualified to take this job on to do it. So finally, as you know, we've been traveling around in a 19-foot RV trailer, Macy and I and Baloo. Is Baloo here? Has he gotten in trouble yet?
He's playing.
Baloo! Anyway, the three of us have been traveling around the country. Is he going to come and introduce himself? There he is.
Come here,
Baloo!
oh, that's your dog.
Baloo, come here, buddy. Baloo, come here. We want to introduce you to everybody. This is, and the reason, oh, don't worry, buddy, you're a good boy. You're a very good boy. Okay, can you come here and sit? Face everybody? No, you want to face me? Oh.
Is that your dog?
This is Baloo, who was, he is a victim of police brutality himself. And he was very lucky to be only subjected to a flashbang grenade instead of being shot when we were raided. But he's certainly a trooper. He's been with us the whole time, and he's going to be on the road with us. And everybody, please meet him, say hi, and tell him you you appreciate that he's not in jail either. Okay, Baloo, go say hi. Go make some new friends. So we've been having a lot of fun on the tour. We invite everybody who's here tonight to come out to the trailer and sign the ceiling of our RV, and then you can come with us for the next 6 months. If you want to follow us, you're also welcome to. We have t-shirts like this for the American Campfire Freedom Tour. We have some logo t-shirts and some other fun stuff. Of course, Ernie knows the best conversation starter is, if the troops defended freedom, they'd attack the government.
Yes.
We have that on a t-shirt. And we have the ever so retro Ed with a Kokesh for Congress t-shirt, reminding me of, I like to tell people, I was in the Marines, as you can tell from the stupid look on my face, but I'm better now. I also used to be a Republican. That was worse.
Anybody who don't know who I am Ed Vallejo. If you don't know, come up and talk to me afterwards and get to know me. The rest of you who do know me, I want to start something national right here, right now. I'm going to call it the Vallejo Challenge. I am going to give this man $1 a day, which is $30 a month for the entire time he is on the tour. That's my commitment to Mr. Kokesh, and I challenge everybody to try it. Okay, $1 for each day. I mean, they got commercials on TV for sham life insurance, where you can get life insurance for $1 a day. Okay, this is your freedom insurance. $1 a day, freedom insurance. I challenge you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
All right.
All right, well, on that note, I'll see you all in the trailer and on the road and on the interwebs. Follow us online, thefreedomline.com. Take advantage of every digital opportunity to spread this message. And never forget that what we are a part of is the most incredible opportunity to move humanity forward. We are coming to the most incredible turning point in human history that can only be described as the asymptote of the human experience, when so many exponential curves of the human experience are getting to the point where, of course, they never go vertical. But from the perspective of our puny little minds, humanity is about to take off. And the sooner we do this, every single day that we wake one more person up means it's one less person who has to die in a needless war. It's one less person who has to be a victim at the hands of the police state. It's one less beautiful business that didn't get started because of a regulation or a law or someone who didn't have the money because they were paying too much in taxes. It's that much of an opportunity to move humanity forward. You people who get this now, who get this today in 2015, who have the privilege of being a part of this group, of being the tip of the spear, moving humanity forward, you better enjoy the hell out of it. Thank you very much. Some final words from Ernie. I'll see you back at the trailer. It's at the edge of the driveway.
Which will be worth a lot of money with your signatures. We are producing 10,000 copies of a newspaper. We used to publish newspapers through the 90s. That was a lot of our activism up until the internet really took off and we started Freedom's Phoenix 10 years ago. Well, we're going retro. The last one that we had done was in the summer of 2004. So over 10 years later, we're doing another one that we go to press April 15th, and we will be distributing it. Half of them will be over northern Arizona in support of the Constitutional County Project in Navajo County and the Arizona Freedom Fest that's going on in Kingman. So we have 5,000 copies that we're bringing back here to do in the Valley. Next weekend, if you guys want to have, something to actually pass out to people, it's 28 pages in a tabloid version that features also Adam Kokesh's book. Now, in there, he's in great company with a lot of other good, writers that you'll recognize. But the thing is that we're going old school. We're going back to the streets again. And we're going to be using Adam Kokesh's book and the QR codes throughout the entire paper are QR codes. When you're at Denny's, you open it up, it's interactive with the internet with your smartphone. You blip it, boom, you start watching the video. You blip it, boom, you go to it's like a hyperlink that you don't have to have it as a download like we did our magazine. So we're going back to the people, back to the street, and Adam's efforts here was a big inspiration for us doing this because now we have a primer. Now we have it, because I read it, audio, and I know how effective this book is going to be. I really encourage you to support this effort because it's so much easier than so many other things. And it's not about voting. It's not about numbers. It's not about what the government says. It's not about politicians. It's about you and the people you love understanding the foundational basis of what it is to be a free human being. Peace.
Peace.